Hi, guys. I'm a new mother and I'm going crazy looking after my son and my home. Recently, things came to a head when my husband, Mark, 27, confronted his mother, Lucy, 49, about her nasty comments towards me. Lucy has been on my butt about how I'm not taking good care of the house, letting everything fall apart. She's been going on and on about how I am not doing a good job in handling household chores and I am being a bad mother by letting my child grow up in a nasty home. She visits us 3 times a week to see my son and find every possible chance to make snide comments about how I am failing at being a mother and a wife. She would also tell stories of how she always made sure her house was squeaky clean, even after having 2 kids. She would tell stories about how difficult it was for her, but she braved through it and always kept her home immaculate. More than once, she even hinted that I was raising my son in an unsafe environment and I should be working harder if I don't want people doubting my capability to raise my son. These comments have been going around since the first day she visited our home. Mark and I are doing our best to handle such a big change in our lives, and all Lucy does is criticize. Never once has she offered to come and help us or anything. My own family lives in another city and can't miss work, or they would have flown to us and helped us out. I was hoping that Lucy would at least offer to help out. I know I'm not entitled to her help, but she could have kept her mouth shut since she wasn't even going to extend a helping hand. It had been just me and Mark from the first day we brought our son home. Now it's just me alone who handles all the household tasks and takes care of the baby when my husband is at work. Lucy thinks I do nothing but laze around all day while my baby sleeps. That's not true at all. I have an active baby who needs my attention almost all the time. I have to juggle entertaining him, feeding him, changing diapers, making lunch and breakfast, taking care of the house. It's not easy, guys. I'm doing my best. But Lucy thinks that I am not doing anything. Let me remind you once again that this woman literally never offered to come and help. All she did was complain and call me a slob. Apparently, she was always on top of her feet, cleaning the house and everything after giving birth. She kept telling me that she started doing all household chores a day after coming home from the hospital. I mean, good for her. But seriously, who shames a new mother like this? She could have literally offered to help if she had a problem with how my household was like. Let me also clarify that I don't live in a pigsty. My house is messy but clean. You can't have a spotless house with a newborn. At least that's what I think. I would like to do some deep cleaning and maybe finish up some tasks before it starts to get overwhelming, but it seems like I never have the time or energy. It's just that handling childcare and household chores all alone during the day is absolutely draining me. Not to mention the fact that I have to regularly wake up for nightly feeding. My husband does take over night feedings when possible, but I still wake up and then find it difficult to fall back asleep. I have a creeping doubt that it's because of anxiety or something. I don't know for sure, though. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just want to tell you guys why I haven't been able to maintain my house like before and have everything in pristine condition. Lucy just doesn't understand, or maybe she doesn't want to understand. I got really tired of her constant criticism and nagging. A few days ago, I sat my husband down and told him that I couldn't deal with this anymore. I was tired of being constantly disrespected in my own home, and it was starting to mess with my mental health. My husband actually heard me out and agreed that what his mother was doing was absolutely unacceptable. He was actually pretty furious about this matter and told me that he would take care of it. I honestly just wanted him to speak to her and tell her to stop. I tried that a few times, but she would never listen and instead fired back at me, telling me that I was being a disrespectful brat. I have all those messages on my phone. No matter how much I told her to stop, she wouldn't listen to me. So I thought that maybe she would listen to Mark. I really wasn't prepared for how ugly things would get. Last weekend, when Lucy and my father-in-law Ben, 50 male, came to visit us, my husband decided to bring this up with his mother. He straight up told her that she needs to stop making mean comments about me and stop being so judgmental about how our home is right now. Lucy looked annoyed and irritated at this. She doubled down, started to tell Mark that she was just expressing her concerns because I was clearly failing to take care of my child and my house. She then went on and on about how she kept her house spotless, so it's not that difficult. Ben looked horrified at this, and I was close to tears. Mark was angry, but he kept his cool and his voice controlled. Mark and Lucy got into an argument, after which Mark suddenly put cleaning supplies in her hand and told her to clean our house instead of me, since she was so good at it. Lucy went absolutely red in the face and immediately threw the supplies away. She was getting agitated while Mark criticized her for her rude comments and told her that since she isn't even going to help, we have no use for her opinions. Then Lucy had a major outburst the moment Mark said that she needed to apologize to me and promise to stop being mean, or she would be put on a timeout. Guys, this woman went absolutely crazy when Mark said this. She was having a complete mental breakdown, screaming and yelling at me and at Mark. It was absolutely horrible. She called us names, said we were terrible parents. She accused me of brainwashing Mark and putting him on a leash because her son would never disrespect her like this. She alternated between cursing Mark and cursing me for turning him against her. It was a major crap show. At some point, my son started to cry because of the noise, so I went to soothe him while Mark dealt with her. Ben tried to calm her down, and I later heard that he was the one who made her leave. Mark and I are pretty shaken up by this. We don't know what to do now. Lucy has been sending us accusatory texts since the incident. Thankfully, she hasn't shown up yet. I'm getting sweaty just thinking about what would happen when I'm alone with her again. This is just messing with my head, making me more anxious than usual. Mark has been telling me that I should ignore her and stop talking to her for a while, but I don't think that will be effective. Lucy likes to make herself known, and I doubt she'll be back down anytime soon. Instead of getting an apology, I've been getting a bunch of nasty texts from her. Ben has actually apologized on her behalf, but I don't think it will be very helpful for me. Lucy is, in general, a very stubborn, opinionated woman who doesn't listen to anyone. Besides, Ben and Mark won't be there to make her stop when she comes by to see my son and finds me all alone. I'm just dreading when that will happen. I can't keep her away from my son and won't allow her to take him to her place. So there's no other alternative. I'm thinking about telling her that she can only visit on weekends when my husband is home, but I don't think this will go over well with her either. There will be a fresh onslaught of criticisms and complaints. I really don't have the time and energy to deal with that on top of everything. Do you guys have any pointers on how I can handle this situation? It would be really helpful if you could help me find a solution. I'm going crazy already, and I don't have the capacity to find a good way to deal with Lucy. What should I do, guys? Edit. Just a quick edit before I get overwhelmed with baby duty again. You guys can't understand why I didn't tell Lucy off sooner and ban her from the house and what exactly I'm waiting for. I'm extremely overwhelmed and tired all the time. I didn't have it in me to fight Lucy, who has nothing better to do than criticize me. I did tell her to stop, but she ignored me and continued her nonsense. I didn't ban Lucy from our house for one major reason. I didn't want to keep our child away from her. She is a doting grandmother despite her flaws. So we thought that we shouldn't limit her visits to our home over this issue. I also didn't realize that this would evolve into such a big issue because it had never happened before. Lucy can be very judgmental and snarky, but she wasn't around all that much for it to be a major problem. I was mostly able to ignore her and go about my own way because she would rarely visit our home. We didn't see her in family events all that much either. That's why I never really expected her to be on my butt so much. Her visits only increased after I gave birth because she wanted to get as much time with her grandson as possible. That gave her the opportunity to criticize me more than ever before. Some of you asked why my husband has been quiet about this and why he hadn't spoken up before. There's a simple explanation for that. He had to go back to work before I did. He only got 1 week off as paid leave, and that too because his company actually realizes that fathers need to take care of a newborn too. Paternity leave should seriously be a thing. I don't know why no one talks about it. I would have had a much better time dealing with everything if my husband had been around for another 2 weeks at least. No wonder so many women suffer from PPD. This is just ridiculous. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I got a little emotional. So Lucy mostly visits when Mark is at work. She makes these comments when Mark is nowhere near to hear them. I should have brought it up before, but I was too overwhelmed with everything to do that. Plus, I was delusional to think that Lucy would stop after a while. Yeah, that definitely didn't happen. Mark only got to know about this once I had had enough and told him. Also, the texts between me and Lucy were an added bonus. Lucy had no way to lie about it, although I don't think she would have lied to Mark about her opinions of me. Some of you expressed concerns over the state of my house and have been suspicious that Lucy was probably telling the truth and was just concerned about my house being a hazard. I am not lying about the state of my house, guys. I don't live in a garbage dump. Yes, things are strewn around. Clothes don't get folded and put away as often. Yes, we have been eating on paper plates and using paper cutlery because I don't have it in me to do the dishes along with everything. My husband's already tired from work. He helps make dinner and take care of the baby as much as possible. We're both doing our best, but we don't have a safe environment for our child. I may be losing my mind, but my husband is still sane. Besides, Lucy isn't the only one who visited. Mine and Mark's friends have visited us as well, and no one expressed concern over things. Hell, even Mark's other family members have visited and haven't raised concerns. Lucy is the only one creating problems for whatever reason. But anyway, I have read some of your comments and realized that Mark and I need to have a bigger discussion on how we're going to handle things. I am clearly overwhelmed and need help. We need to make a decision about whether Lucy should be allowed back into our home again. I'm definitely going to talk and I will make a proper update once I have good news. Update 1. You guys have absolutely no idea just how grateful I am for your comments. I know I should have come here sooner and given an update on the situation, but I got really busy with life and childcare duties. I'm sure you guys understand what I mean. To be very honest, I was drowning, and no one really knew about it. Lucy's words had been getting to my head, and I subconsciously started to doubt myself. I was ashamed of my home not being picture perfect and started to think that maybe I was a failure. I was so ashamed and guilty that I couldn't bring myself to tell any of my own friends and family what was going on. You guys really caught on to it, even though none of you know me or have seen me in person. You guys have been really worried about me and left some helpful comments. Some of you privately DM'd me because you saw clear signs of me struggling and possibly having PPD. I would like to sincerely thank you for opening my eyes to reality. It is because of you that I had another big talk with my husband, and the two of us decided to get help. I had bottled everything up so badly that even my husband was beyond shocked to hear just how overwhelmed I was. We have already seen a doctor, and I have been diagnosed with PPD. Although the doctors did say that it's not severe and I would be able to get over it fairly easily, still. It hasn't been easy asking for help. I ended up talking to my friends and family about this, and all of them were supportive. They promised to help us out in every way possible. Mark cannot leave his job or take leave because I won't be going back to my job for a while. So we have decided to look into getting a maid or something similar to help with household chores. He already takes over the majority of childcare after being back from work, so I would say I am not having much trouble on the childcare front. If we do get a maid, I would have absolutely no trouble looking after my son even after my husband comes home from work. I don't think we will be able to have a full-time maid, but maybe we can have a cleaning lady come in a few days a week, at least until I'm able to recover. Not everything is settled, but I can assure you that steps are being taken. Now, let me come to the important part of what we decided. I took all your comments to heart and decided that it's time to put Lucy on a timeout. She has been extremely disrespectful to me and is one of the reasons why I am struggling so much. I do want to have her in my son's life, but that doesn't mean I'll allow her to treat me like dirt. The very woman who brought her grandson into this world. She needs to sincerely apologize and work on herself before we allow her back into our home again. We are sort of going no contact for now, and any contact will be through my father-in-law, at least until she apologizes for her actions. As much as I want my son to have his grandma in his life, I don't want to teach him that it's okay to be a doormat and it's okay to be disrespected by someone just because they are family. If Lucy really loves my son and has an ounce of shame, she will apologize and try to be better. Until then, she isn't welcome in our home. Mark and I are both on the same page about this. My husband actually told me that he had been considering going no contact after what we witnessed that day. He wants me to stay as far away from Lucy as possible. We will, of course, allow Ben to visit because he is innocent in this and on our side. However, Lucy won't be around for now. We have already informed Lucy about this just a few hours ago. She's been blowing up our phones, but we're not taking her calls or replying to her messages. I haven't even opened them to see what she's saying. If she turns up on our doorstep, I will tell her to leave. I'm feeling much better knowing that I wouldn't have to dread her coming over and berating me whenever she wanted to. This relief just made her more confident in my decision to keep her away. I really wouldn't have been able to do it without help from you guys. I sincerely thank you for not judging me too harshly or immediately saying that it's my fault. I really appreciate all the kind comments. I am positive that things will get better. Update 2. I've been receiving some comments and DMs asking for updates. I've been replying to the DMs with whatever progress I was making in my daily life. However, I didn't have anything to make a major update until 2 days ago. My father-in-law came by for a visit. He's a very busy man, so he doesn't come by the house as often as Lucy did. Since it was the weekend, Ben decided to drop by alone and check on us. The three of us talked and we received some rather disturbing details from him. Lucy has not taken the no contact decision well at all. This was sort of expected, especially because she was blowing up our phones and calling us names. She also sent some really nasty messages to Mark telling him that he is not a real man and a terrible father. We've been ignoring her, focusing on ourselves. She showed up at the house twice, but I didn't let her in and threatened to call the cops. She didn't take that well either. She's been harassing us for a while, but we really didn't understand just how messed up she was being. Ben said that Lucy was turning into a nightmare, and they had several arguments over our decision. Ben thinks that we were justified in what we did, and he would have done the same if he were in our place. He also told us that Lucy was being a hypocrite because her own mother had stayed with her for 6 months after Mark and his sister were born, and she didn't have to lift a finger to do anything around the house. So basically, Lucy had a very good support system and wasn't in the same boat as I was. That pissed me off more than I can admit. Mark also looked super annoyed. Mark and his sister are just 2 years apart, so he doesn't remember much from the time after his sister was born. Anyway, Ben has been trying to talk some sense into Lucy, but she's starting to turn on him and accusing me of poisoning him against her, too. What's really disturbing is that Lucy often talks about raising my son and dreams about how it would be so nice if she got to raise a child again. I won't go into the details of what she said, but it's pretty weird. Ben said that she talks about raising my son more often than normal. She didn't fall and hit her head or anything. I don't think she has a brain tumor either. A midlife crisis? Possibly, but who knows? She never expressed any desire to have more children, so this is extremely out of the blue. I don't know why she suddenly wants to have a child in her care. I just know that she is delusional enough to think that she can take my child away from me. Although she hasn't said that outright, we are all pretty sure that's what she means when she tells Ben about them raising my son. Ben, to his credit, said that he shut down those stupid ideas as soon as Lucy brought them up. She would then get mad at him and tell him that she was just being wistful and he was being mean for no reason. I really don't know what to make of that. I am now extremely glad that I posted here and got some good advice on what to do. I am glad that we cut her off and created some distance between us. Mark is pretty upset at this all and hasn't been taking things well, but he is holding strong and trying to put on a brave face for our son. He's a great father and makes me realize just how lucky I am to have him as a partner. He's been extra supportive of me even since the doctors diagnosed me with PPD. We have now hired a maid who comes by and does all the household chores except cooking. Ben has actually generously offered to pay for our maid as long as we need. I doubt Lucy knows about it, but I am not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Mark has also been a great help in coordinating everything. He feels guilty that I've been suffering for so long, so he's doing everything possible to make sure I have the time to recover and get better. He also reached out to our friends and other family for a few favors. As of last week, people have been taking turns bringing in at least one meal for us every day. I think this whole thing just showed us how much our family and friends actually care about us. Everyone came forward to help in any way possible. My emotional and hormonal self has been crying every time someone comes by to help or drop something off. My parents, who live in another city, have offered to fly to us and help out a bit. For now, I have told them that I am all set and would call them if I need them to come over. So all in all, I'm getting help and it looks like we made a good decision in cutting Lucy off. I hope I can settle in soon and somehow get some normalcy back in my life. You guys have been leaving me some really kind messages that help me get through this tough time. I had been feeling really down, and Lucy had gotten into my head about how I was a failure. I was having trouble seeking help or even telling people close to me that I was struggling. Thanks to you guys, I have finally gotten help. Oh, I should also mention that Mark has seen this post and read all the comments. He sends his gratitude for helping his wife finally seek help. He's also taken the negative comments about him to heart and says that he appreciates all the pointers he got, even if the commenters didn't know that Lucy didn't make a fuss in his presence. So, Thank you all for your input, guys. Update 3. Thank you so much for leaving so many helpful, caring comments on my previous update. I am so sorry that I was gone for so long. I was dealing with a lot of things in life and didn't have time and energy to come and make an update. This is a final update, but it will be interesting, so buckle up. So, some of you had warned me that Lucy was showing concerning behavior, and she would probably try some nasty crap to have my child taken away. I actually thought that she wouldn't go that far and that she wasn't that delusional. Turns out I was wrong. This woman actually called CPS on us. I wish I were kidding, but I am not. Let me tell you what happened. So, for 2 whole weeks, Lucy had been sending me and Mark nasty messages and voicemails. She showed up at the house 4 different times, and I had to literally call the cops once to get her to leave. I think it was a good decision that came in handy later. There were a few days of quiet after Lucy had cops called on her. Then suddenly CPS showed up at our door one random day. I was home alone with my son and terrified. I was panicking even though I had nothing to worry about. They told me that someone had made a complaint that I was living in unsafe conditions and hoarding stuff. The caller was concerned that my child was going to fall sick because of the state of my house. I immediately knew who had called CPS. I was mad, but I was panicking more. The woman from CPS actually tried to calm me down because she could tell I was panicking. I ended up explaining everything to them, right from my PPD to Lucy's antics. I told them that they could talk to the cops who can vouch for how unhinged my mother-in-law was being. It was my sheer luck that my maid showed up before the caseworkers could leave. She confirmed that she had been coming by every day and actually didn't have to do much because I never left messes and tried to help her out whenever possible. Our maid, who doesn't want to be named, has been a huge help, and she actively advocated for me to the caseworkers. I will forever be grateful for that. The investigation wasn't very long. There was enough proof to show that the complaint was unfounded. There had been complete silence from Lucy for a few days, but then she tried to threaten us with grandparent rights if we didn't let her see our son. At this point, we were already in touch with a lawyer and covering our bases, so we didn't immediately panic over Lucy's threats. We did tell Ben what had happened, and he was beyond shocked at what he heard. He told us that he needs to do some serious thinking and would contact us in a few days. Then Lucy showed up at our house one night and started yelling and cursing me about how I ruined her life and her marriage. Long story short, Ben is divorcing her. He broke the news to him and she went crazy. We didn't even have to call the cops because our neighbors did it for us. We were surprised to know that the cops were looking for her anyway, since she had assaulted Ben before leaving the house. He got 3 stitches on his head because she threw a coffee mug at him. I won't go into details of what happened, but Lucy is in trouble with the law. We already have a harassment lawsuit in place, and our lawyer has assured us that Lucy won't be getting grandparents' rights in any way. She hasn't really reached out after we got a restraining order against her, so that's good. Ben is also healing, but he needs time. We suspect abuse by Lucy, but we haven't been pushing him to talk. Right now, Mark and I are trying to enjoy our son's infant phase and focusing on supporting Ben in whatever way possible. I don't think I'll be making any more updates on this. Thank you for all the good wishes, guys. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.